Okay, let's get it. Welcome, guys, from wherever in the world you're joining us from. This is Pounds for Breakfast. This is a special edition show where we're going to cover some of the fundamental data. We have our official Pounds for Breakfast coming in an hour from now, but we are looking at taking advantage of some of that CPI and PPI data on the pound. Now, this is going to start to become a trend because we're enjoying starting to capitalize on these fundamental data points. So we are going to jump in, we're going to skip the news, and we're going to have a look at straight fundamental data in terms of what is currently happening in the world and in the markets today. So we are going to have a look at that in a second, but just first and foremost, a quick shout out to every single person in our community. You guys are absolutely amazing. Welcome as always. Let's see who is first to jump in the comments. Waylon, there's morning all, and jumped right in very first and foremost. Quick shout out, Lee Montoya, Adian, and Tabi Singh, Zain, Malcolm, Andy, Mark Hooper, Garrett, Nakim, Ash, Nakil, let's see, Nashil, sorry, Charlie, Kanya, Peter, Alvimo, Lucky, Simus, Martinez. Guys, welcome. We're about to see what we can do today. If you were part and parcel with us yesterday, we had some seriously powerful sessions. We banked some seriously good money in the markets last week, as well as the start of this week. So we're off to a very good start, and it's only Wednesday. So we still have a ton more we are going to be doing. And like I said, we're going to start off with some of that fundamental data as we jump in. I'm getting the chat sorted. We're getting the chats well repositioned on the screen. So obviously we can see how you guys chat and engage with us every single day. So I do appreciate that. And I will bring you guys chats in later for the other shows. We're just integrating and making sure everything looks good. Everything works well together. Okay, beautiful stuff. So we are, as I said, going to jump straight in. We're going to be focusing on that fundamental data, looking at this morning's PPI data for the pound. So let's jump straight in. Let's have a look at what we're looking at and how we can capitalize on that. I can see this morning my one screen just saying, hey, I'm not here to play games. Let's go. There we go. Beautiful stuff. I can see the chat is now populating, but it's now doing that above my head. So we will figure out how we want to reposition this dude. And let's just park him up there for now. So that's just doing its thing. Beautiful. So again, as we've obviously discussed previously, we are talking about the PPI data and CPI data, producers price index, as well as consumer price index. Now, if we have a look at the fundamental data release schedule, right, currently we're seeing that the year-on-year number is where the highest focus is going to be. And I don't believe that. I do believe the CPI month-on-month is going to be the core item that we are obviously going to focus the most attention on, that one over there. So we've got a ton of data this morning. We might even have to zoom out just to see all the data. But ultimately what we're doing here, and the ultimate result, is if we get numbers lower than expected, we're going to see a weaker pound. So looking at GBPUSD, we could start to see a bit of a sell-off there. If we get higher than expected, it's going to boost the pound. So really, really simple, straightforward fundamental data this morning, right? So let's jump into it. Let's have a look at our charts as we move into the live trading segment of our broadcast for this morning. So let's jump in and let's have a look. I'm going to open up our MetaTraders, and I've still got my indices set up here, but we are going to be focusing, like I said, on that GBPUSD. Let me quickly just find my GBPUSD. There we go. Beautiful stuff. Okay, so having a look at where GBPUSD is, we saw yesterday we started to get that breakout formation. GBPUSD ran, and it was all sitting on that dollar weakness. Now GBPUSD is currently sitting in a pretty neat channel. We might even start to consider this a little bit of a rising triangle, right? A bullish triangle here. So we're just looking for any sort of pound weakness or pound strength that we could use to capitalize on that market. So I'm just going to be shifting this to the side of my screen here, just so I can see everything at the same time. And we should be getting that data any second now, around about 20 seconds from this moment in time. And we're simply going to be looking at this. This is a GBPUSD chart, 5-minute time frame. And I'm just looking, are we going to see a breakout here? Yes or no, right? Are we going to get that strength? Yes or no? And if we obviously get a mixed bag of results, so if our data release is mixed and half, then, obviously we're going to have to deal with that accordingly. But if we get a straightforward, win or loss here, that's obviously going to be big. So everything came out positive. Pound is going to do well, and we are going to be buying GBPUSD. So we're going to buy GBPUSD this morning. I'm going to look at potentially, so I'm potentially looking at a trade there for that push to the top side. We're getting a little bit of a push and a pullback. So if you're not in it yet, this is a great position to enter this market in. The pound came out extremely strong in that data release. And yeah, we want to essentially make sure we catch that. A little bit of a spike, a little bit of a pullback, right? And that's to make sure anybody that was going short is potentially taken out. And then we just want to simply watch this one in terms of what it does. But yes, extremely bullish for the pound this morning. And we're going to see if markets will see that capitalized or see that mentioned outright. RPI is sitting extremely high. PPI, Producer Price Index, way above expectations. Standard deviation is massive there, almost double. Looking at the PPI output, it's much higher. PPI input, much higher. And core PPI output is a little bit lower than what we'd like to see. But the main items in terms of CPI, that is exactly where we would want to see it, right? The only thing that is slightly lower is the PPI output, which is slightly lower over there. But core CPI and CPI month on month is higher, right? This is going to boost the pound. Again, this is not a good thing, right? So we've spoken about this in previous shows where good data doesn't necessarily mean good for the markets, right? This is good for the pound short term, but bad for inflation. This shows that inflation is still heavily involved in terms of the pound, right? This is showing all the wrong signs of what, you know, the economy and the governments are trying to do in order to curb this. We know in the US, Powell's obviously raising interest rates, right? They're trying to do the same thing around the world. So we get these higher than expected numbers, temporarily good for that currency, but it's not good overall because obviously it means that we're going to receive higher impacts in terms of fighting those numbers. So we're currently seeing the pound a little bit stalled out here. I just want to make sure that I am, yeah, we are still good. So I would honestly get into this from an entry, even though we're sitting right at resistance. Really good data for the pound. So we might see a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a struggle here. We're just going to have a look at where the dollar is sitting. The dollar is sitting in a little bit of a breakout formation from yesterday. We got that dollar strength coming running in straight after the New York Stock Exchange opened. This is currently looking at the dollar index. Dollar came running back in, and now we can see we kind of were in that little bit of a sideways market. And should the dollar then break this level, which it more than likely would do on this stronger than expected pound data, we could see the dollar index start to fall, and that would rally and fuel a GBPUSD sell side opportunity. And I remember there's only 5 minutes, so a slight push up to the top side could yield us in the region of about 30-40 pips. But again, this could be a longer term position, specifically considering that GBPUSD is in a bull market structure, whilst the dollar index is currently sitting in a bear market structure. So again, fundamentals are already confirming what price action has already given us, and price action is telling us that this is going to continue moving towards the top side. So no matter where it is that you decide to end up buying this, I think over a period of time, we will start to see, specifically over the London market open in an hour from now, we will start to see this momentum gain towards the top side. And that's provided we don't see a Liz Truss and somebody resigns or someone changes offices in the next couple hours. In this times that we're living in these economic times, anything is possible. So yeah, we just obviously want to manage that accordingly. And if you got a nice low entry, obviously caught that spike, which is not ideal because it had a little bit of a pullback. But I would say, you know, because we're dealing with currencies and we're quite used to dealing with indices, you know, for every 10 points, it's essentially 1 pip there, right? So if we have a look here, you know, we need to have at least around about 150 point trailing stop. If we're entering that sort of buy opportunities, I'd say 150 point trailing is going to be that bare minimum in order to deal with at least a little bit of a 5 to 10 pip move here as we start to see prices move off. Now, the pound is not as reactive as we obviously see the dollar. In most cases, we get dollar data when the dollar market is active and ready. Right? We obviously see the New York Stock Exchange come in after that and pick up whatever momentum that we saw in previous sessions, or alternatively change that momentum substantially. The pound doesn't work in a similar manner, right? The pound gets a lot of data and then starts to run with that data. So a little less volatile. Obviously, it's a currency. Obviously, it's a major pair. So spreads are good, but volatility is fairly low on that one. So it's more an investment type position over a period of time that we can look at capitalizing on. Okay, so that is essentially what we're going to do there. And yeah, we're simply just going to hold a pound long here. I don't think it's going to have any effect on something like UK 100, which is something obviously we've been dealing with in the past. As we've seen through analysis yesterday, UK 100 has more of a correlation with the New York Stock Exchange because the UK 100 is hosted on the New York Stock Exchange, right? And this is an important fact to consider. The FTSE 100 or the UK 100, the effects that we start to see are only fully evident when we get into that New York Stock Exchange open, right? So yeah, we obviously just need to take note of that. And a stronger pound is bad for its indices or its stock market. So that's just something important to remember. I keep losing my GBPUSD. I'm just going to put it in a place that is good and convenient. But yes, depending where you entered, if you entered on that pullback, you should be in profit. If you entered a higher up, you should be sitting negative around 14 pips. But I do expect this over a period of time to break out to the top side. Even if it starts to range, I'm not too worried. At this point in time, sitting with a 40 pip stop loss, which is perfectly fine. And so even if we start to range a little bit, I've got no issues there as long as we start to break out over that London session. So we might start to see the breakout only in about 50 minutes from now. And that's essentially what we're going to deal with this morning. Not as highly volatile as the dollar, but this will help us to catch some really, really good swing trades. As an example, if we look at yesterday's breakout points, right, we saw GBPUSD essentially trying to get through that breakout zone, ultimately getting through it, and then starting that rally process all the way into the New York's, all the way into the London session, and then obviously taking off. And then looking at that dollar weakness that we got yesterday afternoon, fully capitalized on that dollar weakness. We can see GBPUSD did another spike for about 140 pips, which is obviously massive. That's a big run for a currency regardless. So we are getting a little bit of a negative pullback, and that's fine. That's definitely going to be on the dollars cards here. But yeah, we're getting all the right signs here. So when you see the fundamentals not lining up, right, we're getting the dollar pushing lower. I just want you guys to see this because it's an important lesson. When you see the dollars pushing lower, you get that positive fundamental data, right? So example, something that's good on the pound, yet, and you're still seeing a little bit of inconsistency in the market movement, right? Just know that that is a form of manipulation, right? It's very clear cut that the pound has to gain value, but what it's doing is it's hunting for anybody that's going long. And what we'll see over a period of time, unless this is a long-term play, is we will see these prices or GBPUSD starting that reversal and moving towards the top side. It might take all the way into the London session, and that is why, just from a fundamental perspective, we prefer dollar type of information, because again, the whole world's eyes are there and we see a lot more movement there. But yes, we do want to see what this can do over a period of time. Dollar index is lower, pound data is positive, so I'm probably going to add in a deeper order, if I'm honest, at this lower price here, and just get in that deeper price. So there's going to be manipulation, and we're aware of it, and obviously we want to capitalize on that. We want to make sure we get a deeper entry there. So I've got 3 entries there, and yeah, I'm pretty happy to hold this over a period of time, and let's see what the pound can do, right? This is the pound's time to shine. We've got good data, which is not necessarily means good data for the markets. I would say our decent, safe stop loss zone is definitely below the support 1. Obviously, if we want to go, for an investment grade type position, then again, we would want to go below support number 2 here. But we can also consider the support number 2 for the reason that we do have a diagonal support being that one. If that doesn't catch price, then this certainly will. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that entry there. That entry, I'm also fine with that. It's not ideal. We don't like to see inverse moves when we see very clear-cut fundamental data. So we'll start to see the news report on it. We'll start to see the news say, they beat PPI and CPI numbers. But again, if the UK has learned anything from the US, it's that these bigger than expected numbers are bad for the country, right? It shows that inflation is still present, very much present, and the UK has not hit any sort of peak in terms of their current inflationary numbers. So let's see if the world translates this, or if this is just going to be a big bank move that essentially just wants to grab some of that liquidity and run, right? We obviously can't tell where the banks want to pull their liquidity, but we obviously just have to rely on the pure price action side of things. Maybe let's give it another look in terms of Euro GBP, how those two are performing. We're just going to jump in on a smaller timeline. My charts were unfortunately white yesterday. That's just one of the beauties of trading with MetaTrader. I don't know if you guys have had that, but every once in a while, you close MetaTrader, you open it up again, and your profile and charts have basically just disappeared. I don't know how many people have had that, but yeah. So Euro GBP is also reacting in a similar fashion as what the pound is currently doing, in the sense that Euro is dominating the pound off that data, which is extremely strange, because yeah, the pound is obviously seeing good data, which we know doesn't mean bad data. Strong pound news and the same effect on pairs like GBPJPY. It should. Let's give GBPJPY a look, because that'll be a good indication as to what we could be seeing. I'm just going to change my USD JPY to GBPJPY. And this will be a good indication of whether this is purely pound data, the pound that's weakening, or we are seeing this across the board. Yeah, so the pound has taken that news extremely badly, has taken this as an actual hit in a loss of value, when inversely we tend to see that being a good thing for the currency short term, obviously bad thing for the currency long term. So pound is pretty much running through the floor here, and I'm a little bit worried when I see across the board that the pound is suffering on such good data. Let's give this a quick look. Yeah, super strange. I'm double checking that all my math is correct and that I'm in the right place. And everything points to we should start to see a stronger pound, but we're getting that weaker pound. So I'd love to further understand if anybody else has got any other views here. I would love for you to share and let me know what your thoughts are. But we have good price action below us. We have all the signs of going in long, and we just need to obviously see what is busy happening. I really want to. I'm going to take a loss on my much bigger order and my one lot, and I'm going to place a bigger order in this lower level. Let's see, where did my order box go? There we go. I'm going to look at taking a bigger order right here down below where this market is moving. If this is a manipulative little spike here, obviously I would like to capitalize on it. If it's the market physically driving the price of the pound down, obviously that's quite worrying. But yes, I'm putting in a 20 lot buy on the support level, and let's see what ends up happening. If we draw out price action, we can see that the price has in the past projected quite a distance through, and has gone through supports a little bit there. But I do want to see if this is a manipulative move, and if that is the case, then obviously I would like to capitalize on that. Everything that I'm reading, I'm just double checking myself. This is obviously going to be dollar power, right? If we're seeing someone saying why is gold dropping, let's just double check. I don't see gold dropping. I don't know which gold. Simus is saying why is gold dropping. I'm not sure which gold you're seeing, but this gold is currently ranging. There's no real drop here. Can't see a range, but look, we can, we could attribute this towards some sort of dollar strength that is coming out of nowhere. It is possible, but the dollar strength is out of nowhere. It's just pure price action, where if we have a look at the pound, there's actual data to back up why the pound should be getting stronger. That's going to be the big thing here. So I'm pretty happy to hold this, and let's see, this could turn into a real swing trade. Someone's saying I see a reversal on 1.1183. What are you seeing a reversal on? What sort of reversal are you seeing? Is it a buy reversal, sell reversal? I think, guys, if you're going to put comments in, just be clear about what it is you're talking about, just so I don't read info that is not, you know, like, is that a reversal on the calendar date? Is that a reversal on a speed limit? Is that a reversal on... Why is it not dropping? I mean, weeks, it pushed up already. It's exhaustion. What? Simon, what are you talking about? Why is it not dropping? I mean, weeks, it pushed up already. It's like exhaustion to the upside. Well, if it's not dropping, it's not exhausted, right? Okay, so I think comments. So what we're going to be doing moving forward, our YouTube channel has just been monetized. So we're going to start to allocate badges and content moderators to the content, right? So the more often you're with us, you know, you get a badge. And so when I see someone with a badge pop up, I'll focus on that. And then it just means the quality of comments we'll get in will just be slightly higher. Will just mean that we can actually, you know, answer comments that, you know, have substance towards that comment. Because, yeah, Charlie still hasn't answered. What is he seeing a reversal on? Are we seeing a reversal on time zones? Are we going to see a reversal on Noah's Ark? Is this a reversal on a birth date? Is this a reversal on public holidays? Is this a buy on JSE stocks? Is this a buy into voting for the ANC? Like, yeah, I give 100 different. I'm just looking at that 1.11 number that Charlie's given. I think he maybe meant 1.183, and then he would be referring to GBPUSD, I'm assuming. Yeah. No. So nobody's late. If you're only looking at this, then guys, for me, if this is manipulation and we can catch it, then if this is manipulation, we can catch this buy off this bottom, like, that's ideal. If you've still got a buy up there, I apologize. We can't obviously accommodate full market manipulation. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I mean, if we catch this and we start to get that power reversal, it could also come into the London session, right? That's also very, very likely. So that's what I'm going to do here this morning. Is I'm literally just going to hold GBPUSD, hold it to the top side, see what it ends up doing there. I'm still in my EURUSD buy trade. I'm going to hold EURUSD until, you know, whenever. I'm very happy to hold EURUSD long term. Still sitting with that 2-lot position down there. Stop loss is adjusted below current market structure, but I'm very happy with that trade. I'd love to see this. This can do double its value, and it's currently valued right now at about $7,320 plus minus. So I'm really happy with that. I think this could perform exceptionally well, and even better than what it currently is. Yeah, that trade right there. So I'm pretty happy to hold. I'm obviously going to keep my EURUSD position. GPUSD, we just need to see what's going to go on here, and just putting in some alerts at these levels, because I can't see a reason for GP losing strength right now across the board. I do think, if anything, right, it's a very clear-cut thing, right? We're seeing the dollar lose value. If we see the pound get some fundamentals that should boost its value, if I was an investment bank, right, and I was looking at all these orders come in, I was looking at, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of orders buying the pound, where do I make my money? I'm just saying, if I was an investment or liquidity or investment institution, investment grade type bank, if I had to throw $1 billion into a pound sell, right, while everybody else is trying to buy it, and I could push them into stop losses, not only am I in profit, but I create a whole bunch of liquidity. So you've got to think like the big banks. Sometimes when the price action's there and the trade is too straightforward, I'm always a little bit cautious, right? Because that's, remember, where big players sit. Imagine if you're a, you know, if you're a shark, you're a whale, right? And you see 1, 2, 3, 4 fish floating around. Right, let's say you're a shark. You see 1, 2, 3 fish floating around. It's a lot of effort to go for each one of those fish, right? But if you see them all gather into one place, into one pool, into one area, right, there's a lot less energy needed there. You can just swoop in, open your mouth. You're probably going to catch 5 or 10 or 20 or 100, whatever the case may be. And markets are very much the same. So when a price action move is too obvious, we often see personally, and this is just my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice. This is not written in stone. This is just my observation on the markets over the past couple of years, is when the price action setup is too obvious. You have a definitive weakness one side, definitive strength on the one side, price action formation there. I generally find those are the places where we get the most manipulation. And it's not that, manipulation will be long term. It's usually very temporary. It's a couple minutes, a couple hours. It's just what it is. And Tabi saying on the daily time frame, the spread is interesting. Let's have a look then. So here's the spread currently. So regardless of which time frame you're on, the spread doesn't change at all, right? So even if I'm on a daily, so here's a daily time frame. So regardless of which time frame you're on, you can read the spread here, right? So we can see the spread at the moment, let's see, is around about 2 pips total on GBPUSD. 2 pips total for GBPUSD. Yeah, absolutely. Retail sales on the dollar is going to be another big one. So we have a couple shows planned for today. We have a total of 4 shows. Apologies, I'm in front of the screen while I'm trying to show you guys the spread. So I'm just replying to Tabi Singh's item there. Let's see here. Okay, GBPUSD is doing something. Let's see. Come on. We know you were trying to play naughty. Okay, GBPUSD is finally starting to push up. So depending where you are in there, it's about 10 pips. Anyway, I just want to talk about spread really quickly. So regardless of which time frame you're on, spread remains the same. Spread is a constant, right? Spread is, the cost to execute to a liquidity provider. It's technology costs. It's the cost of running a brokerage and all the rest of those things, right? So example, if we look at this over here, right, there's a 2 pip spread in high volatility times, right? Markets have come in, there's volume in this market, there's 2 pips of spread here. You must understand that every time you trade a standard lot, the only thing the brokerage makes is those 2 pips minus fees, minus liquidity, minus cashback, minus promotions, minus. And some of these times, specifically on major currency pairs, we end up in a position where we, in some cases, break even or make a loss to keep that spread as low as it possibly can. Just so you understand that. Okay, beautiful. So let's have a look at that. So you see, we caught the banks by the horns. It's not over yet. I would like to see a push back up to original positions. That would be, for me, a great win. Means we caught the liquidity providers with their pants down and we were aware, while the rest of the market was panicking, selling off, thinking that, oh no, they must be reading the fundamentals wrong. Have a look there. Beautiful stuff. So my 20 lot big position, right, is currently sitting at $3,200, $3,300. Let's see, $3,400 in profit as of that point in time. So what I'm going to do here is, on my bigger position, this can range, it is possible. I'll leave my smaller position as an investment position. My bigger position, I'm just leaving my stop loss at entry and just allowing this one to do what it's going to do. If we caught the banks with their pants down, if we caught liquidity providers or big institutional funds and firms trying to pump the price of, or drive the price of the pound down, then we might have caught them with their pants down. Let's just have a look here. GPJPY. GPJPY is also coming off that crazy level. Let's see what else we can see. I laugh sometimes when I see markets and I just see like these blatant moves. You just wonder how they're going to get away with that, Earning back to loss. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Chris H, if you caught this at the bottom, man, hold on to this thing. Because again, if we are correct, and not to say that I am, not to say that we are, just speculation at this point. If we are correct, we could see a breakout past resistance and further to the top side. So I can see my one battery is telling me, hey man, it's time to take a break, change some batteries and get ready for the next broadcast. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll see you guys in a bit for Pounds for Breakfast. We'll cover some of the news, some of the things that are happening in the world, and I'll break down this fundamental data points a little bit further. But let's see if we can hold on to GPUSD buy and let's see what it can do long term. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see some volume come in on 10 o'clock. So that's what I'm excited for. And I'd like to see if we can hold these positions and see what comes of it. I want to see if the London market open fuels a rally. And if so, we're going to be in the green starting the day very, very early in the day. Just saying, lol, profit every day. Listen, guys, we make some mistakes that it's all about. But again, when a mistake is made or a trade is wrong, whatever the case may be, I always have believed in the fact we're going to be wrong. Let's be wrong quickly. And if we're going to be right, let's be right over a period of time. Let's be right over a longer period. So yeah, that is part of the trading game. And don't be afraid if you're wrong to change your mind, right? If markets don't work out, to change your mind. I think a lot of the problems that traders have is they hold on to this hope of a view that it must do what they say they think it's going to do. And it doesn't have to do that, right? That's obviously pretty important. So guys, I'll see you guys in literally about 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to start the London session at 9:45. So I'll see you guys in a little bit, and let's start this morning strong. Let's have some pips in our bank accounts this morning so we can tackle those retail sales data releases. That's going to happen at 3:15. And then again, remember, we have New York Stock Exchange at 4:15. So if those of you who have your $100 accounts, we will email out to you the retail sales link that's going to be at 3:15. That's going to be big. That's going to be massive. That's a mover. We know this. We eat that stuff for daily bread, as well as New York Stock Exchange at 4:15. So if you have a $100 account or more, we'll see you in those sessions. But for those of you who are going to be joining the free session, which is Pounds for Breakfast in the next little bit, we will, we'll be together in a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful stuff. Someone saying stop buying now. Not sure why. Any event, guys, have yourselves an amazing next 15 minutes. I'll see you guys in a bit. If you have bought from the bottom, consider maybe taking 25, 30 pips, close up a portion of your position, which you can do on your phones. And, if you take, close half that position. If you know how to do that, then you are sorted. EduFX, I don't know what they are too. Yeah. Sometimes we do have monitoring spirits. It is a free public broadcast. So please just remember, it's not limited. And that's why in our paid sessions or our live account sessions, we can speak a little bit more openly. And the rest of that, we have to obviously assume that the public is joining us, and we got to obviously be respectful of that. Otherwise, guys, listen, have yourselves an amazing next 15 minutes. I'll see you in a bit. Until then, goodbye.